Make sure that what you're doing is safe for the subject and safe for yourself. The hypnosis itself, as Dave Ellman said, is no more dangerous than any other conversation.
Absolutely.
Question, Chris. Is hypnosis dangerous?
Oh, that's a great question. Is hypnosis dangerous? That's what this YouTube video is all about. And the answer is... It can be. So let's talk about, is hypnosis dangerous? It can be. There are two classes of danger that we're going to talk about. The first one is somebody can be distracted. Now, that really just means people can be preoccupied, not paying full attention to everything around them because they're so in the zone and they wind up getting hurt. And we'll go into some examples in a moment. The second one, what's the second one?
Well, the second one is what we call the ignorant authority.
Right. We're calling
it's a
it
great term.
Ignorant authority because basically you have to have an authority figure doing hypnosis
who doesn't know
who is
the
ignorant.
possible.
And, and that means not knowing. We'll get into that in a moment.
Okay.
So those are your two classes of danger. We have
lack of attention,
ignorant authority, and ignorant authority.
Excellent.
All right. So let's dive into lack of attention. We always say ecology first. What does that mean?
Ecology first is how we teach hypnosis to our students, whether they're hypnotherapists or street hypnotists, whatever. The point is you always maintain the safety and well-being and even happiness of your subject and yourself. You cover your butt. You make sure everybody's happy, everybody's safe. If you're not looking at ecology first, things can go off the rails pretty quickly.
So in the context of street hypnosis, doing hypnosis to random strangers out on the street, or stage hypnosis on a stage in a professional environment, things can go wrong because of lack of attention and lack of focus. But before we even go there, what are some examples where people can get hurt in everyday life? And you can call it hypnotic because your focused attention is not where it necessarily should be.
Well, yeah, because there are hazards just in the environment everywhere.
Right.
I mean, right here, this is a cell phone. I could hit myself in the head with it. Yeah.
Gee, how many times do you see people maybe crossing the road?
Not looking. Yeah, and
staring at
on
their phone. Oncoming traffic, car accident.
Right, because they're distracted. And the same thing, if someone's doing something like street hypnosis or even stage hypnosis, you have to ensure the safety of the participants. For example, a number of years ago, I was walking down Danforth Avenue in Toronto with a friend of ours, Craig, and we're just dinking around, and I stepped off just about a 1-inch drop, a crack in the sidewalk, and put a micro tear in my Achilles tendon.
Right.
Just from that.
You could have easily twisted your ankle.
Stage hypnosis, you got people on a stage, there's a possibility of a sudden drop. There's often things like power boxes and that at the back of the stage. They're sitting, they can stand and hit their head. I've seen it happen. But street hypnosis, you have traffic. You have curbs you can step off. The person can run away if they're not under control.
Right.
So you have to make sure that you're looking at the environment and you're controlling the environment, maybe with assistance as well. It's not the hypnosis that's dangerous, though. It's the environment that's dangerous. And now we're looking at that whole thing of ecology first in this situation.
Yes. And I think when you combine this with the idea, and we did a video on how hypnosis is not mind control.
Right.
When you have a volunteer, someone who is participating in a stage hypnosis or street hypnosis experience, and they're really wrapped up in the experience, it's probably no different than, let's say, I'm going to make up some absurd example. Kids dancing around a bonfire in somebody's backyard.
Yeah.
And they're all excited and they're doing all this stuff. Do you think they're probably in a bit of a trance when that's happening?
It's
yes.
possible, yeah.
Could somebody fall in a fire? Of course they could. Have you ever picked up a hot item on a stove?
Yeah, far too many times.
Because you forgot that it was hot because you were preoccupied. This happens all the time in trance. So it's not the hypnosis that's dangerous. It's the environment that can be dangerous.
Right. And there was the case years ago in a cruise ship where the hypnotist told someone, and when I snap you out of this, you'll run back to your seat the shortest possible route. The problem was the stage was elevated, not really high enough, though, to be problematic. The woman, I think it was, thought she could just jump off and run back, but she twisted her ankle, broke her ankle.
Right. And she may have been the type of person to do that in any normal competitive situation.
Who knows?
Let's say that it wasn't a hypnosis show, but it was a race. These volunteers come up and you're all agreeing to do a race. Get back to your chair as quickly as possible.
Right.
She may have simply leaped off. No hypnosis required. It's her own trance.
No hypnosis required. Now,
let's move on to the next.
Okay, let's look at the second class of danger here, which we call ignorant authority.
Right.
That's the authority figure who does not recognize there is a danger present, doesn't realize it, and gets someone, a subject, whatever, to do something stupid. They could be injured or whatever.
Absolutely.
I'll give you an example how this can happen. Without hypnosis. Now, this was me in high school. I was 14 in a gymnastics class with a idiotic teacher, and he told me to do this neck spring dive roll.
Neck spring, yeah.
You know, and you jump, you dive, you're supposed to, your head hits the ground, you're supposed to spring up onto your feet.
Yeah.
Which is, a couple of kids could do it.
Yeah.
So he presumed everybody could do it, and not only that, but everybody should do it.
Is this a dive roll where you launch yourself forward? You're supposed to sort of land on the back of your neck and roll?
No, you're supposed to, on the top of your head and your hands taking a lot of the thing, and bounce off the top of your head.
Oh, weird.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Insane. I'm sure they don't do them anymore because too many people have probably died from it.
Killed themselves.
I said I couldn't do it. I knew I was incapable. No, you can do it. You'll be fine. He was an authority. He was the gymnastics teacher. I believed him, and my neck went sideways. I nearly broke my neck. I sentenced myself to over 55 years of neck pain, or about 55 years, because of that. Now, he caused the injury indirectly out of his ignorance. He presumed that I would be able to do this.
All right.
That kind of thing can happen with hypnosis too.
So he was in an authority position and he was ignorant, and we'll come back again and define ignorance means simply
Not knowing.
to not know, right? So he didn't know that this was a bad idea. He was an authority. You were a kid. He told you to do it. You felt the pressure, and therefore you did it.
We obey authority
got hurt.
naturally. It's human nature. And if you think about it, this could happen with a doctor.
That's-
The doctor,
yeah.
you go into an emergency ward somewhere, you got an infection, and the doctor doesn't have your medical history and doesn't know you're allergic to amoxicillin or something, prescribes it. You don't know what he's given you. You get seriously ill, and he has acted out of ignorance, out of not knowing.
That doesn't
and
mean
you've
he's not
done it.
medically trained.
No, it just
Right.
means he's an authority, and you've obeyed it without question.
Right. Or, yeah, exactly. So ignorance can simply mean not having the full picture, the full history, or being completely misinformed, right? So lacking the information or having totally wrong information, and then acting in an authority position, telling someone to do something that winds up hurting them, that's ignorant authority.
But it isn't hypnosis.
It isn't hypnosis. In fact, with hypnosis, in fact, in all areas where there's ignorant authority, we've described it as there's double ignorance here, right? So let's say, before we even speak about hypnosis, I go to a doctor's office. I've got some sort of infection, and the doctor says to me, I'm going to prescribe you penicillin. And we know some people can be allergic to penicillin. If I happen to know I'm not, but if I was, I might say to the doctor, oh, hey, doc, I'm allergic to penicillin. Can you give me something else? Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. No problem, because we don't have double ignorance. But if I don't know that I'm allergic to penicillin,
Right.
and he says, I'm giving you penicillin, I say, okay.
Yeah.
Now we have double ignorance. Now
Right.
we have the potential for harm. So let's use that now in the context of hypnosis.
Okay. So let's say, what kind of context if the person...
Well, let's say that I'm going to see a hypnotist for weight loss.
Okay.
And the hypnotist tells me incorrectly, makes a prescription to me of what kind of diet I should eat, let's say.
Okay.
And
he doesn't know something.
yeah, maybe he or she, I suppose we could say here, it doesn't matter, is completely ignorant as to actual health guidelines around food, incorrectly prescribes a diet to me that isn't good for me, and I don't know any better.
Okay.
So I could have a bad result from that, right?
You could.
probably have all kinds of
Like
other
if
examples.
he put you on the
of that.
donut diet or
Yeah,
something.
there you go. The
There you
donut.
go.
Yeah, well, in fact, yeah, the rice diet or the Coca-Cola or the McDonald's diet or whatever it is. You can eat as much as you want as long as it's only at McDonald's between 3 and 6 p.m.
He's kidding, of course.
I'm totally kidding. But if that kind of thing could happen,
Right.
and you could imagine how that could cause harm. But the ignorance needs to exist at both the hypnotist level and the hypnotic subject level.
Right.
And without that, you won't have harm.
So we see that it's not hypnosis itself that's dangerous. It's running hypnosis in circumstances that could be problematic, or the double ignorance where something could be dangerous, but neither you nor the hypnotist know. And this is why, again, we're back to ecology first. Make sure that what you're doing is safe for the subject and safe for yourself. The hypnosis itself, as Dave Ellman said, is no more dangerous than any other conversation.
Absolutely. So if you're a stage hypnotist, street hypnosis performer, make sure that you keep ecology first so that your subjects are always aware of their surroundings in everyday life. Remember, it is your responsibility to be aware of what you're doing, aware of the risks of your surroundings.
Right.
And in the context of therapy, change work, or anything really outside of hypnosis, seeing a doctor, seeing any position in authority, remember the concept of double ignorance. Ignorant authority and double ignorance must exist for harm to happen. All right, hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you click on that subscribe button. And then after that, ring the bell, do it again. There we go. That's the bell icon that'll let you know whenever we publish a new video on YouTube. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you think. What have you seen in the context of hypnosis and people thinking it's dangerous? Let us know. We love reading your comments, and we'll see you in the next video.